working.
I got it.
Hey!
Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
I'm Janelle Pizarro.
And I'm Frederick Philip von Weiss, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology
That love what they do.
And do tech.
good. And we're doing tech here at VueConf US 2019.
Hey.
Yeah, where are we at, Brian?
Tampa, I think?
I think Tampa.
Yeah,
That's it.
Tampa Bay.
Where's Tampa at?
It's just a little bit near St. Pete. Most people know St. Pete.
St. Pete, Ohio. We've been here all day. Florida, that's it. I forgot. We've been here all day today. We're going to be also doing this, we're doing this all day today. We did this yesterday. We're talking to some really...
And it's at the Stratus Center, by the way.
At the Stratus Center, yeah. And we're here with Damian Dulisz. Welcome to the show.
Hey, this guy right here.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Looking forward to all the questions and the unexpected live stream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got you off guard. Ha!
Oh, yeah.
So, Damian, if you don't mind, tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm from Poland, Wrocław. I'm a core team, Vue.js core team member. I'm mostly responsible for the news website and the newsletter. But I also try to help with some other projects like the docs or the DevTools. I'm also doing some open source projects for Vue, like the Vue Multi-Select or Validate, and most recently the Vue Global events. They're kind of like quite useful libraries. One is for like validations, handling global events, and a multi-selection tool.
I don't think you have enough work. You need some more. You need just
So much work. You need it.
Yeah, and other than that, I'm doing some consulting and recently picked up more like a stable job at one of startups from San Francisco. But it's quite recent, but very exciting.
Have you been doing a lot of talks, traveling a lot?
I try to, as in I get invited, and I have a hard time saying no most of the time. Then I regret it for like the last 2 weeks before I talk, like, why did I agree? But after giving a talk, it's like, whew, I could do it again. Yeah. So I then tend up to agree again and regret it. And it's like an endless cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, but it's cool. Like all the people that I like get to meet during like conferences or meetup, it's worth it. Like,
oh gosh, just a chance to meet Brian Hinton. It's worth it. Yeah,
usually online. I mean, we have people outside the door.
Yeah,
really
signing autographs, want hugs. So, what was your? It wasn't a talk; it was a workshop. What was your workshop about?
This time, it was a workshop. It's about ridiculously reusable components for Vue.js. So it was mostly focused on how to create components. Which are like the bread and butter of Vue, but how to create them in a way that you can reuse them. So it's a pretty wide topic. So we try to focus on basically solving like common or more like complex problems within like a Vue application by showing like how you can compose components to basically simplify them so that the more complicated things become easier because like you're like breaking things out like from each other into like separate, like basically encapsulate different like fragments of the logic. Yeah. And then you just like compose them together. Then we also try to show more like patterns, how to solve those problems with the composition that we like teached a moment ago. And then we wanted to do some more on like refactoring.
What's the ridiculous part of it?
Oh yeah, the ridiculous part was one of the live coding, which was like an introduction to the composition topic. Yeah. So I wanted to like go crazy with like how you can compose like a drop down out of like a tooltip component, and then like how we can create a select component out of a drop down component and a button component, just to like to show. It's not really a way that I would recommend everyone to build their components, and that was like the ridiculous part.
But you can.
But you can, like just the fact that you can, so people see how powerful the pattern is, like you're basically using scope slots to expose data and like functions, like methods of the component, so that you can basically delegate or like expose control over a parent component to child component, so that, for example, the dropdown can control the tooltip behavior that it is using, and then the select component is able to control the dropdown component, which in turn controls the tooltip. So it's quite complex, very hard to explain, but during the live demo, I think it just works. Like people are just like seeing like this is wired like here, this is coming here, and it all magically works. So that's the ridiculous part. But people signed it for it. Like they knew it would be ridiculous, right? It's in the like.
I mean, I feel like more people would have gone to it just because you have the ridiculous.
I think it was.
I don't
It
want to
might
be
even
involved in
be-
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like ridiculously fantastical, even,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like
I have to credit Chris Fritz for the name, because like I was like reusable components. Like I need a more catchy name. It's like ridiculously. I was like, okay. It's like I was completely sold on the name. It's like, okay, let's roll with it. Like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
it works. Like it works. Like people were like, I'm like going for that ridiculously something.
Yeah.
Like when I met someone like in the venue, it's like, that's my workshop. Let's go.
oh, I love that. Well, how is it like different between like building a talk, and just kind of like enticing people to use the thing that you're talking about versus like having a talk and also workshopping what you're talking about?
Okay, so for me, talks are not about teaching something. So like when I was at the composing components talk, which was pretty similar to the like as in the general like topic that the workshop, but the talk, because those are like usually like 25 to 2 minutes, you can't really teach someone, because like you can have like a pre-talk survey to like figure out like how like advanced are the people.
Yeah.
So instead of like trying to teach someone, I want to get people like excited, or like get people thinking on discussing on a topic, and they like, and just like maybe provide some like learning resources, like, hey, this is something like you can like pick up later, or just like share some ideas. We don't actually like explaining every detail, like how you can like create it like this, like line by line, because it won't work.
Yeah.
Like, there's just like a limited amount of like concept that people can like consume during like the talk. So I was like getting people excited, and like they will pick up later. Whereas with the workshop, like you actually want to teach someone something, right? I mean, you still want to get people excited, because especially with like a larger group of people, like we had 50 people here.
Wow.
We did like a pre-workshop survey, and the like advancement level, like expertise level, was pretty much different. Like we had one person who never like used Vue, which is kind of weird. It happens. Like it happens in the workshops, and we have to accept that. And we try to accommodate for like people that are like beginners and people that are advanced. So we try to have like along with Ben, like to have like more like 2 tracks where like alternative exercises. So for those that like don't feel like comfortable with like doing the main exercise, they can like practice a simple thing at the same time. Although the whole workshop is like open source, and we are like updating it, so and we wanted to like stress it out that if someone is not like able to finish this exercise right now, not to worry,
access.
just like we'll go on with the content, and they can like go back with it, like do it like at home, because both the example application, the resources like the exercises, and the slides are on GitHub. I mean, the slides are not yet there because we had so much fun at the conference. We haven't yet updated, like uploaded it there, but I think we can do it like tomorrow when like everyone like is actually back home probably. So it will be there when they get back. So, and we want to like provide like a monthly like a support period, like where they can like talk to us and like ask some questions, because this is something that we've seen, and this is something that we also pick up from Chris Fritz, which is the bring your own application approach, where we provide some like an example application exercises. But if someone like sees like a pattern that we introduced or a technique, and if think like, oh, this could solve a problem in my application, they can just like open their application and just like ask us during the exercise time, to come and just like, hey, how would you like introduce it here? Like, will it help it with this problem that I have? And we like, okay, let's try to figure it out. I mean, we can't spend like too much time on it, but sometimes like people just need like a little push like, hey, you can just like try it here, or maybe try something slightly different. And people were pretty happy about it. Like after the workshop, like we got pretty good feedback.
Oh, that's great. Awesome.
One problem that we had is we ran out of time. Like I think we could use like 2 more hours. Like I think everyone was tired.
How long was the workshop?
8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you need 10 hours.
Yeah, I would say 10 hours because like I personally didn't account for all the additional questions like during the workshop that happened.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit different here in the US like than it is like in Poland.
In which way?
Mostly because people here are like more open or like brave to ask questions without like fearing that someone will be like judging them, like, oh, that's a stupid question, like shouldn't be asking this, like it's obvious. No, people don't fear this here, and that's very good. And we had like 15 minutes or 20 minutes discussions, like just sparked like from one questions where someone asked us, we try to like answer the question, and someone like shares their own experience, and there's like another person sharing their experience. It's like, oh, okay.
So you were in the middle of a group mastermind at that point.
It's actually very good because like what we shared is just like our experience from our teams, and there are like many smart people in the workshop, and they have their own experiences, and they share it. So it's not just our knowledge that we can share. It's like a group knowledge that everyone can like benefit from the questions. Like that's basically like a rule for the workshop. Like if you have a question, but you're not sure whether it's like good, it's very likely that someone has like a similar question, but might be too afraid to ask. So if you ask, the person will also benefit from the answer.
That's right.
So I think it's very good to ask questions, and it's even better if we as the trainers are like more prepared for it, because of the fact we try to like add so much stuff for like everyone. I think we had too much, and that's why we like ran out of the time to do the refactoring part, like which we like. I think we were around like 2 hours short of time just to do the like open practice refactoring part. But the application and the instructions for the refactoring are there, so we hope people will be able to go with it, because it was supposed to be like the open time zone.
What was the application you're building?
So we were building an application during the workshop. There were like exercises for each of the technique that we introduced.
What was our full-on application that you're?
And then later on, we had Trello clone.
Oh, sweet.
Which was
that's awesome.
You're trying to put them out of business?
No. It was a very
straight a Trello card. Put Trello out of business.
It was a very simple one, and it was written in a very like naive way.
Yeah.
So that people can later refactor it into like extracting components, because it wasn't just about components, because you can't really talk about like reusability and so on if you don't talk about like architecture.
Yeah.
In
So
the application.
Did you include discussing like Vuex and actually?
Yeah, we had some tips on like how to use Vuex, like what to put into the Vuex store, what not. Like the like rule of thumb was to like not put anything into the Vuex unless you really have to.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty like straightforward. But still many people just get it wrong. Like they put too much into Vuex, and that's like something that we wanted to stress. Like you will know when you need it. Just like don't like try to prematurely like optimize your application or like abstract it, because like usually the same goes with like components. Like you can do something in a very like you can repeat yourself a few times before you try to extract it. Because then you know all the questions or all the answers, and you can use the knowledge to create like correct abstractions instead of like trying to build abstractions like up front and then like fail because there are like some more like requirements showing up, and you end up like with wrong abstractions and like basically still repeating yourself, but in a more like complicated way because you got this like abstraction hanging around and like, oh god, it's not helping. It's just like making things harder. So
you want to write everything twice first, and then
and then
I thought that was 3 times.
No, it's write everything twice. It's the wet method,
okay.
and then you dry it up after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It
write everything
like
thrice.
right. It sounds like there's a lot. You're basically doing a talk in a way. Then you're creating exercises, and then you're acting as like question and answer. So it's definitely a lot of work. I'm curious. You're as someone who is directly involved with the event and workshops and doing the talk. Was there anyone specifically, now that you're done with your workshop, was there anything that you were looking forward to yourself that you got to see?
Oh, so I think I saw
today that you're looking forward to.
I think the talks that I wanted to see, like mostly, which was Sarah Strasner and Chris Fritz today.
Yeah.
Because those all talk about the next Vue, like the future of Vue basically, and other like just web.
See into the future.
Yeah, and that's what I'm like mostly looking forward.
Yeah.
Also Guillaume's talk, like shortly after Chris, was also very interesting because when he asked me like how many of those like secret performance tips I know, it's like maybe like 4. And it's like I got 9. It's like okay, I wonder what's he gonna present. So although I knew some of those, I just didn't consider them as like performance tips.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like there are like so many like solutions that you don't consider like that they would solve a problem that you like a different problem. I can use one solution to like in different I'm sometimes it just happens like I'm not aware that this could solve like other problems. I'm just like focused on like it solved my problem. Like it was that was the problem, and like the solution can have like broader applications for. And that's what I learned from his talk. I also finally seen some of the talks that I missed like last month in Amsterdam because I had a talk there. So and if I have a talk during a conference, I hope that it's on
if
the,
there's multiple tracks.
Oh no, it's not even multiple tracks. It's just that if it's like late on the first day, or oh my god, no, on the second day, then I have like all the time before my talk is just like spent on like okay, gonna rehearse it like one more time, like gonna make some changes. And if I end up like going to a talk and it's like oh my god, those are so like such beautiful slides. I have to like improve mine. And it's like going back to the speakers.
Is it animated that way?
Yeah, it's like okay, I got to go to the speakers room. And it's like okay, let's add some more content. So it's and now I was very happy because I just had a workshop, so I could like enjoy the whole
you get to just enjoy.
But you missed on adding that stuff to your workshop.
Oh my god! No, you got me.
Next workshop. Don't do that to him. I mean, we're just about out of time. How can people find out for our audio listeners? We'll put this in the show notes. But how can people find out about you? What's your website? What's your Twitter?
So I have a Twitter, which is Damian Dulisz at Damian Dulisz. I got it on the back of my shirt, but I don't think it works. And also on GitHub, which is Shen Tao, which I think is very hard to.
We'll put a link in there.
Yeah, I can send you the link.
Yeah.
But then you can also find probably link to my Twitter on news.vue.js.org, which is the news platform I'm like managing, and there should be like a link. I'm like doing it. So, and this is probably the simplest way to like remember what to type in the browser.
Great. You guys got anything else?
No, just great talking.
Thanks for inviting. It was great.
Yeah.
Nice to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Damian. Thanks everybody for watching. We got more coming up in just a little bit. See you guys.